everybody. We have a different podcast today. I am joined by three very talented comedians. I have Michelle Benson, Mike Marino, and Sherrie Fell joining us today for something a little bit different. We're going to talk about the challenges of being a comedian in today's current environment, shall we say. We've spoken a bit about it in the past. I'm finding it interesting to make a film that when I first made it 10, 11 years ago, it was just a comedy. There wasn't much to it. And then I had mentioned to you guys when we all spoke, we had a script analysis done, and this person was triggered and came back with all these things that offended him and accused me of pretty much everything under the sun. And then we had a nice long conversation where I held his feet to the fire for about an hour over it. And you know, I don't know if he recanted, but it was an interesting experience. So that's kind of started this thought process. And then as we've been going through a raise for our current film, some of these things are kind of creeping back, which is interesting through marketing and things that we're doing. People are getting a little worked up. So I feel that comedians are really kind of at the forefront, the first line of defense in keeping a society honest. You guys, first off, you get up on stage and put yourself out there, and I've seen all of your guys' stuff, and you've all made me laugh. And I really hate critics, and I'm one of the worst critics too. So it's something. But you guys are all very good. You're all very funny, and I thought you're all very genuine, which I like. So I just feel like it is an interesting time to be a comedian. And ironically, our other guest is joining us. I'm going to let them in, and we're just going to keep going. Hi, Sheilah. Can you hear us?
Hi, yes. Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday.
There she is. All right, we had started recording. I'm just going to keep it going, and then I'll find a way to make it work, or we'll just keep this in because this is, right, stand-up comedians. I was just talking about the challenges that I've had in trying to make a raise. We spoke a little bit about it to the audience. Sheila Smiley is joining us, and how certain things were just comedy 10 years ago, and now they're considered a problem or whatever. So I was just saying to everybody here that I feel like comedians are the first line of defense and kind of keeping a society honest. And I feel like it is a interesting time that we are in. And I wanted to do a podcast with some very talented people who I think have a very interesting perspective. So I don't have a preference on who talks first. Whoever wants to say something, jump on in. How do you feel your craft has changed in the last 5 to 10 years?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
It got better.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of anything. Bring it.
So
we really don't have to dance around what other people think is offensive. If you aren't offensive as a comedian from the beginning out, there's always going to be somebody who's uncomfortable by what you said, but they're actually uncomfortable with themselves, not what you said. They just came up with the idea that they could blame you from now on. I'm doing this 30 years. I've done anything from down, dirty, nasty urban places to squeaky clean cruise ships to high-end corporate events. If you're a talented comedian, you know how to do the dance and get away with what you want to get away with, if you're really getting away with anything at all. Because some people ask me in my career, how did you get to perform in that particular place? Because you don't belong there. And I go, well, you didn't notice. I didn't do anything different. You only thought I did. And I acknowledge what I see through the eyes of a guy who sees it, lets you know I can see it, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to let you go home and wonder. So if you're not an offensive entertainer to begin with, you're not going to really go after that type of a thing anyway. Now, if I was to talk about my life on stage and everybody's laughing, having a good time, and one person gets offended, well, how are you going to get offended about my life? I didn't kill anybody. I'm not going to jail. I didn't make fun of nobody. I made fun of myself. So when I do routines about coming from an Italian background, and my parents are from Italy, there's always going to be somebody from Italy going, I'm offended that you talked about that. And I could go, okay, well, then let me take the word Italian out of my act and say, my family. Now, guess what I did? I excluded you. Now you have nothing to complain about. So it always depends upon the entertainer. Where are you going to dance? It's actually almost pretty easy. Everybody's going to talk about COVID because COVID is happening. And every comedian's going to have their take on it. Somebody might get offended by it, but telling the truth is funny. How is it not funny that I got tested on Monday and it was negative? I got tested on Wednesday and it was positive. I got tested on Friday, it was negative. How is that not hilarious? Because that's the truth.
Right.
Even the nurse who swabbed my nose said, I can't figure this out. And I go, good for you. Can I have that? So that's part of that. And then, of course, we were all talking about the cancel culture. Well, who are they? And where are they? I never met them. I'd like to. Don't get rid of my cartoons.
Pretty quickly.
Huh?
I think you can meet them fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm stepping in. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I was just saying I had two thoughts while you were speaking. One of them is I feel like the clubs have already taken like action on this by taking people's phones away and putting them in Jiffy envelopes. Or I went to see oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. She's an Australian comedian, Hannah Gatsby. And they already had like specialized packets for your phone that were then locked. Now I understand if you're filming, but this also happened in some shithole comedy club down here on West 4th Street where they put my phone in a Jiffy bag. And so they don't even want people to, I get that, like, if people film you, they're taking you out of context and they can upload it and then they could cancel you that way. But do you see how there's already like, it's such a thing that there's already precedence at clubs to make sure people don't film you, post you, and then try to cancel you.
Yeah. I don't believe in that cancel culture. I don't believe in it. If that's the case, they be canceling everybody every day, every second of every day.
Right.
Somebody's gonna always do something that somebody doesn't like. So you gonna just cancel the whole human race because you don't like what they're doing?
Right.
I've only been doing comedy 9 years, thank God. I'm down here. I just migrated from New Jersey to Georgia, and it's a whole different life down here for me. I'm still getting used to it. I've done a few rooms. I haven't done anything big. I'm still getting my face, out there. What I find is I do a lot of urban rooms since I've been down here because that's all I can find right now. And I find they don't care. They say whatever they want to say, and they don't care who they hurt. They don't care, and I like that. They keeping it down, dirty, and real. I talk about myself through my act. So if you get mad because I talk about my weight, it's my weight. And if I want to make fun about my weight, I'm gonna make fun about my weight. If you don't like it, too bad. Just like you said about the people who don't like that you say your family from Italy or whatever. If you don't like it, that's just too bad.
And stick to your guns. And if you're a Jersey girl who moved to that area, you got to step above the rest. You're going to sound different than them.
Yeah.
And you're going to bring the juice a lot different than them. And then you go crush it.
I've been doing it. And thank God, the few places that I've been, somebody from up north is always in the audience. One or two people.
Oh, sure.
And when some of the Southern people are just looking at me like, they're cracking up. Like, they get me. And eventually they're going to have to get me down here because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep going to these rooms and keep going until somebody recognizes me. That's all. That's what you have to do.
Yes, every night.
Mm-hmm.
Kill it.
Yeah.
Sheilah, what about you? You have anything you want to add?
You know, we're in a very interesting time on this planet. And so, you know, we all have to, first of all, it's important to realize that where we are now, it all eroded out of our collective consciousness, right? So there's always an opportunity for us to learn and grow and to create from a place of new possibility. And here we are now, where can we go with this? And I always say, as a comedian and to all comics, we are the truth bearers and the creators of what is, and there's no, we can always tell the truth in our own unique way. And we also have an opportunity to create something that we've never had before. If comedians are still trying to be who they were pre-COVID and even beyond that, and not have learned anything and have transformed since COVID, then you haven't grown, you're still stuck. With everything that's happening, with comedians having to be protected on stage, with comedians struggling, still trying to rebuild since COVID, the monies that we used to have aren't coming in the way they used to. This is just a really powerful opportunity to decide, who are you in the industry? Are you still what you were before all of this? Because then what's the point? And so we have an opportunity. For me personally, it's always about transformation. My comedy life has always been first to help heal the planet and to use comedy as that format. And so, for me, COVID has really taught me a lot. First of all, I'm a germaphobe, so it's perfect. I'm good, I could wear a mask without people looking at me. Perfect. Yes, thank you guys. Secondly, I've been wanting to get out of the club scene. I've been a comedian for 26 years, and I've been wanting to get out of the club scene. The most I've ever made as a comedian working rooms is $2,000. And being in the industry, it's always been $500 here, $600, $200. And I'm an actor. So thankfully, doing national commercials, doing theater, film, and all of that has supported me. Having my own voiceover studio as a voiceover actor, I don't look at making a lot of money as a stand-up. In the way that I was. Now I have, I don't do clubs anymore unless obviously I get caught for a big name, but I do theater, I do corporate shows, which is paying the bills. And it's a lot different than it is being in a club every night, dealing with low vibrations and human beings who are angry and who really didn't come there to laugh, and then other comedians who are still fighting for time and space. Mm-hmm. So I think right now, with everything that's happening, comedians, I always love us, and I think we really have a powerful opportunity to transform and be who we never were before in the face of all of these specific challenges, and really start to honor our value and to start standing for getting paid rightfully what we are worth. And that's the conversation that I'm in now.
I think what you said was really good. You're talking about growth. The opportunity to grow and change, and do you, I think if we're canceling people, they can't grow, right? They can't learn, they can't change, they can't, I had beliefs when I was a kid or a teenager, opinions I expressed. Thank God there was no Facebook or any Twitter, that I remember saying them. And I think to myself now, how did I even say that? I was angry. I didn't understand. It was defensive nature or something like that. But you know, if I was a public figure or there was social media back in the 90s when I was in high school, I might still be living with that. And then you are stopped as a human being able to grow. And that's what we do. From the moment we're born to when we die, we're growing, either physically or, well, in some cases, as we get older, our brains no longer grow. They degrow or whatever. But, you know, so I think that's something. And I do find it interesting, the importance of allowing that growth to happen. And I think we're in a time where you have to allow people to stumble and fall and then let them get back up. And it almost seems to me that the whole cancel culture thing doesn't want people to do that. There seems to be a lot of anger. You know, there's a difference, and I spoke to all of you guys about this to some extent when we first spoke. Everyone has a right to live. Everyone has a right to breathe. Everyone has a right to fall in love. At some point, it's always as if, you know, when things start to change, the pendulum just like a wrecking ball, you know, swings to a side. The issue I feel is that sometimes you run into a problem when if that wrecking ball stays too far in one direction, it can easily become totalitarianism or, you know, fascism or something like that. And I feel like that's where we're getting really, you know, frighteningly close to. But people are starting to say something. You know, you have Dave Chappelle. I forgot who it was that said to me that he has tons of money, so it's a totally different experience for him. When I was talking to you guys, somebody had mentioned that. But you know, you have Dave Chappelle, you have the whole thing that happened with Chris Rock, the infamous slap. And then I heard a lot of comedians saying, yeah, now when I get up on stage, I'm scared. Is someone going to come up? And then what was it, 2 weeks later, that ding dong got up and tried to slap Chappelle. Chappelle, from what I saw, beat the crap out of him, which was awesome. The guy was so bruised. I think Chappelle was stomping on him in the back, you know. So where are you guys at with that? When you get up on stage, are you, you know, you're doing your thing, you're speaking your truth. Are you afraid that some nut, which can be on the left or the right, is going to take offense and get up on stage and try to like make an event for themselves? Or you know,
if anybody get up on the stage about what I'm talking about, they're pathetic, because I'm 59 years old. What am I going to talk about that's going to offend your young self? You should be happy you still have your youth. I limp on the stage. Okay, what are they going to do with me? They come up on that stage, I'm picking up the mic stand and hitting them with it. What can I do? I'm not scared. Not really. I'm not worried about that not right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like they're picking comedians who are like having their, you know, like Chappelle, and you know, I don't think they're going after the smaller clubs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've seen that before that in New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
Well, one of the little, you know, like a little
okay.
bar or something. Somebody came up on the stage, one of the comedians. They had it all on Facebook, and that was before the big people. So they will do it. It depends on where you're at, I guess.
Everybody wants to be famous, so they think, you know, stupidly that they'll step up at a comedy show and like, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's you know, I think it's really maybe kind of a little bit about that. And nobody wants to talk about that. I mean, not in this room, but in general, nobody wants to talk about the fact that the people sitting in the club thinks they're funny too.
Mm.
So maybe it's not an offense, but maybe it's a good way to be, you know, get in the social media place and be like, look what I did, when it's not even like a moral point.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe some people have moral points, but I think there's the whole, since, you know, reality shows that started in, I don't know when they started, early 2000s, everybody's like, I could be famous. And now this could be another way for them to be whatever, you know, get in, like, look what I did. I you know, I shot this person down for making fun of blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody wants to like, is this a way for me to become? So I kind of feel like it's not all big morals. how dare you, you know, insult my character. You know, I think it's just people, you know, like you were saying, like have, you know, low vibration going in there, probably with the intention of, okay, when can I start my shit? You know what I mean? And that's probably why they're taking people's phones away. That bullshit. Sorry. I'm just like, it really, you know, it annoys me because like everyone's rights gets taken away. And this might be completely far crazy, but like with the shoes and the, you know, after 9/11, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's a far reaching metaphor, but once people do something, then everyone gets it taken away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's, I don't know, like, again, this might be crazy, but you know, when my phone is taken away at, you know, at these clubs, it's very like crazy inducing for me. I'm like, what if there's an emergency? And just because I'm in a comedy show where some jackass might fucking film somebody, I can't like see what's going on in my life. But they're like, well, if we don't take them away from everyone, there's going to be someone who's going to shoot people with their phone. Let's start there. You know, and so I understand the premise, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's rights get taken. And everyone's like peace of mind. This is how we connect with people. We're in like 2022, and we actually have a communication device where if we need to be contacted, we can. And now we're in a comedy show because some stupid asshole wants to like, you know, do something, then that's taken away from us. But I just feel that, you know, whether it's a smaller club or whether it's with Chappelle or whatever, not all of these people's intentions are to correct a wrong. They're just getting attention for themselves. You know what I mean?
So you feel like they're kind of getting, some of those people are just getting lumped into, because I kind of felt, you know, I don't know if there's anything about the Will Smith and Chappelle thing that pointed to woke people or cancel culture. I felt it was just, you know, assholes who one is entitled, and, you know, I liked him up until that nonsense. But, you know, I don't know, did he ever, I know he grew up in Philly, but did he ever have like a real job where he struggled, or did he kind of make it when he was young and he doesn't know what that's like? And then with the guy that attacked Chappelle, I think he was a mental patient or something. He has a long history. So I don't feel like that. I don't feel like you can pin wokeness on it. I guess it would be more of like, is that just, has the whole woke cancel culture thing made people feel like they have permission to go and do whatever they want? Or is that a reach? You know, I don't know. I'm not, you know, a professor in it. It's just observations, you know. It's like some people talked about when Bill Clinton was president and all that philandering was going on, to use a word from like 1920. But it was like, did that, because the president was doing it and it was so out, although all presidents, most of them have all done it, did that lower the bar for people where they felt like, well, the president's like, you know, doing something with a 20-year-old intern, why can't I? You know, I don't know. You know, that's the societal thing with his, you know, the society kind of act. You have things going on the micro level, the meso middle level, and then the you know, the macro, the larger scale. And does one feed the other? Does it become a cycle, a circle, or does it stop at some point? You know, I don't know. But that's the thing I'm always fascinated by, is as you start to see worse and worse behaviors, and you start to see like people going in and shooting schools or shooting a neighbor, or a buddy of mine that's parole officer sent me a video. I kind of wish he hadn't, but it was like, I think during the pandemic, of some neighbor, I think in Pennsylvania, who just he's gotten to an argument with his neighbors across the street. He went into his house. They were overly abusive to him. Went to his house, came out with a gun, boom, boom, shot them. They ran, it was one of the most brutal things I've ever seen. But when we're watching this reality TV show shit, and I think that I've hated reality TV show stuff since it started. One of the first things I ever directed was a mockumentary about reality TV show where we just like made fun of the whole thing. and, you know, showed people at their worst. But, you know, I think a lot of people feel like their lives, like, well, there could be a camera right here, right now, filming me as I go to the supermarket. And then that woman cut me off and I'm going to give her or whatever. So, you know, it's interesting. Is like cancel culture an aspect of that? Did it grow out of the reality TV show stuff? You know, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think if you're a skilled entertainer and you train for a long period of time, you got to be a wordsmith and be up on everything that's going on in the world, current events. And you could dig yourself out of any situation, even if it's a really bad situation. Like Sheilah was saying, I'm mostly an actor. I never even wanted to be a comedian. I just felt like it was going to happen anyway, and I did it. As far as I was concerned, when I started stand-up, I was an actor playing the role of a stand-up comic. It wasn't even what I wanted to do. I ended up getting more work as an actor because I was doing stand-up than I ever did from any audition. Somebody saw me and said, just give them the role. So now I learned the art of hosting award ceremonies. Sometimes they can fall flat and it's on the host to make it interesting. When you train every night at hardcore comedy clubs, you become lightning speed, and you won't even need that when you're just doing a corporate show, because mostly in theaters or in a corporate event, no one's going to heckle you. It's in the bar room brawl that you learn how to deal with it. And it can be difficult, but if you're good at it, you can put out a lot of fires. I tend to not want to have to do it, but I know that I can. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I'm the comedian that went on stage after Michael Richards had his meltdown at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood.
Uh-oh.
And I was not scheduled to be next. I was scheduled to be in the following show. The kids that went in there that were supposedly heckling him were really not even heckling him. And I don't even think they were black, to be honest with you. He had no reason to be saying what he was saying.
Wow.
That was a private birthday party. The kid turned 21. So he said to the doorman, who's in the midnight show? I want to razz my friend. He's 21. So the doorman said, well, Mike Marino is. So the doorman says, well, why don't you kids go in now? Michael Richards is on stage. And the place was packed. So when they went in, they went up the stairs and they were ordering drinks. That's what he heard. They were just having fun. So when the kid said, hey, my buddy's 21, Michael Richards said, okay, just shut up. And then he said it one more time and he goes, all right, just shut up. So the kid said, you're an asshole. Any skilled comedian would have said, oh, wow, cool. Happy birthday. Send that guy a drink. And it would have been done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I'm standing next to Sinbad. You can't make this up. And I'm supposed to be last. I wasn't going on stage till 1 o'clock in the morning. But when he started losing his mind, all the comedians who were next are like, well, where's he going with this? Is this an act? It seemed like he was going to try to dig his way out. And they didn't even film half the shit he was saying.
Wow.
And he was saying how much money he's worth. He's worth a lot of money. I got so much money. So when he left the stage and he threw the microphone on the floor and told everybody to go screw, the wait staff was afraid to go inside and put out checks because it looked like it was going to be a riot. You have to understand, this is a touristy place. It's not Hollywood people. These are people from around the world coming to see the stars.
Yeah.
So the owner comes over to me. He goes, come on, Marino, go clean that up. I go, I'm not next. He goes, no, just go. Because I'm from New Jersey.
Yes.
And supposedly we know how to take care of this.
Clean up, man. Yeah.
So when I went on stage, all I said was, I says, I got to be honest, you black people in California make me laugh. He ever talked like that? Where I'm from in New Jersey, they'd have stabbed him 7 times before he got off the stage. I don't know what you're waiting for. He's standing over there. And the place lost their mind. And then I said, it's a good thing you didn't say nothing about the Italians. Now, everybody's screaming, laughing, and it stopped immediately. I was supposed to do 20 minutes. The red light never went on. I assumed the owner said, call it a day, let it go.
Yeah.
So I kept on going and going and going. About 45 minutes later, everybody was happy and it was forgotten. It didn't break in the news for 2 days on Sunday night, which is Chocolate Sunday. And the only reason why I knew is they called me and said, come down, everybody's here, they want to talk to you. I go, for what? Well, you saved the day. I didn't save the day. It was another day at work. I really didn't notice much other than what a knucklehead. I wish I had that kind of money. If I had that kind of money, I'd have been in my jacuzzi in my house. I wouldn't have came to the Laugh Factory. But I got my name in a couple of different magazines and they were asking me, how did you do it? And I'm in my mind going, how did I do what? It really didn't do anything. It was another night at work. If there was anybody I had to follow by doing something off kilter, you just make a little mention about it and then you move on. It's crazy. But
I love that, Mike. I really acknowledge you. You know, you've always been George Carlin to me.
no way. Oh my God, that's the greatest compliment.
Louis Black, like Jackie Mason. That's your energy for me. And I mean, obviously, you know, this powerful soprano energy. And it really takes you're committed to who you are as a comedian, your truth, your authenticity, and trusting yourself. I mean, most people, the comedians, like you said, who were there, nobody wants to clean that type of brutality, just direct racism and anger, and people who are feeling, you know, just bullied, and then the club's responsibility. And this is where it all comes. I mean, I really acknowledge you for taking that on, because what you did was to create the possibility of the power that humor has to diffuse human frailty. And for that, my friend, you should have been paid $1 million by the fucking club. Because this is the shit that we as comedians, we are the megaphones of authenticity and truth. Now, listen, whatever your stick is your stick. I mean, this is, as Dave Chappelle says, free speech. I'm not a comedian who makes fun of people and cuss people out. Like, that's not my shit. That's not who I am. But if that's you, that's fine. I don't judge that. I do know that humor is a gift, and it has the power to do what nothing else on this planet can do. And that's where the devaluing of our gifts and our ability comes into place. To me, that club should have paid you for a fucking 2 years or $1 million. Like, you should have, you know what I'm saying? Like, diffusing situations is what we do best when you are skilled at that. Every comedian don't own that, but when you're able to do that for $1 million, a club who takes in consistent success, wealth, you should have been giving stocks in that company. And I mean, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is where who we are becomes so important. I've diffused many situations in clubs just by my presence. You know, I always come on stage, let us all pray. When stuff like that happen, people start laughing, let's take us back to church. But we're not really valued for the club. It's like, oh God, he put that shit out, she put that out. And then you get your money and you're gone. Well, we have saved you. We've been your PR person. Right. So after I leave here, you pay me, right, for what you think I'm valued. Now I still have healthcare issues when I leave here. I still have to worry about what, you know, eating and what my next gig is going to be. And am I going to get, but I saved you for years to come. And that's where the devaluing of who we are, to me, is in place. And all of the conversations that comedians have on stage is what changes the trajectory of the consciousness. And that is what we should be paid for by the clubs. but we're not. Instead, we're being canceled. Instead, we're being bullied. Instead, we're being threatened, right, for our own truth. But it is this truth that has created these portals. When that shit happened with Michael Richardson, you know, Jerry Seinfeld came to his rescue, but then there's all of these conversations about African Americans and racism in this industry. So people start having the conversations again. These conversations, these uncomfortable conversations of the human condition must be had. But it started in this auspices of this comedy club, but they've been going on forever. You should still be getting paid for that situation. I'm just saying, where we at?
It was one of the craziest things you ever would want to have seen.